Hello, my name is Brant Hunt. My YouTube channel and my Odyssey channel is Discerning What is True. I'm also on Facebook with my name Brant Hunt. And what I'm going to do is be reading from this particular book I just got today, Twilight Language. This is a work by Mr. Hoffman, Michael Hoffman, that is. This book was printed in 2021. I've heard of it before, but I never really, examined it or anything of that nature because I've already dealt with the psychological warfare one he did many years ago. I think it's been probably 2000, I think it's 2001 he did it, I think. So this is a recent work of his. So I'm going to read from what they call the preface here, and we're going to go into maybe a couple pages here to give you an idea of what's really going on here, not only in the United States, but also in the Western world. And it's just simply called Twilight Language. This book is called, again, by Michael Hoffman, Hoffman. So here we go. It was Martin Heidegger who first had the audacity to trace the accumulating ills of modern society to a steady deterioration of human sensibilities with regard to the wonder of things in their sheer radiant existence. The miracle of being that gives all things that are. The culture of the West gradually lost their capacity to meditate and develop the sensibility, the core of truly human existence, the consequent hauling out of our traffic with beings and manifest both in the ways our care for what is has curled into a manipulation of things as tools, and in the way our communities have devolved, devolved, into impersonal structures of social management and exploitation. All this as a result of a fall away from the identity expression of being. This is from Paul DeHart, last quote from Aquinas and Radical Orthodoxy, page 6. This work, Twilight Language, could perhaps serve as a transcendent voyage to a reawakening comprehension of how our experience of creation has been purloined and how our human being can be restored. The acquisition of comprehensive leading to a authentic expression of being is possible, but so arduous and daunting, given our inhabitation in and of this time, that it is mainly, if not exclusively, a blessing bestowed by grace unearned rather than a titanic labor undertaking by Übermenschen. That's a German word spelled U-B-E-R, mentioned M-E-N-S-C-H-E-N. And as the smart ship grew, its statue, grace, and hue, in shadowy silence, distance grew the iceberg too. That is from the Conversions of the Twain, T-W-A-I-N, quote from Thomas Hardy, H-A-R-D-Y. In these pages, we are engaged in the study of the nature of reality in search of the counter-modern retrieval of radiant human being amidst the wonders of creation, against the defection encoded in and embedded by Twilight Language, which, in a preponderance of cases, is a departure from authentic apprehension and expression of verisimilitude into a degraded burglars of communications which repudiate the ontological search for knowledge of ourselves as images of the divine within the natural world of wonder. Human beings having been partakers of this debased language which has been codified by the Western secret societies such as the early Rosicrucians and further eroded by the postmodern advertisement radio/rock, cinema, internet, and news media. Inside this psychic pressure cooker, truly apprehensive of being and creation is rendered unattainable. As a consequence of this intentional processing, men and women are radically diminished, experiencing the reduction of their existence to the level of post-human consumers of initiation phenomenon, rather than instrumentation, a imagio Dei, living the imminence of divine creation. The decay is reflected in indices of rising levels of loss of memory and cognitive acuity, spelled ACUITY, divorce, abortion, suicide, and random violence, as well as in our profound disengagement from human relationships and communion, amidst a artificial world simulated by signs conveying constant messages of avarice, degeneration, incapacity, sterility, and death. So what's happening, what he's explaining is, if I understand it, we are all, and I can see this even in myself, it's urban, it's what I call urban, URBAN, hermit. We've actually separated ourselves from everyone that doesn't agree with us. And Facebook has been a tool that they've used in that way in order to build what I call continuity with one another. That is with anybody. That is that to explore things, to talk about deeper things. And what's happened simply is everything is on a almost as though you're at a water fountain at the or water machine at an office, and you talk for a few things, and you say something. Well, how did the game go last night? Such and such, or whatever. It has nothing to do with anything deeper, which naturally wouldn't occur even in that setting. But the point simply is that we're no longer engaged with deeper thinking at all. We are actually caught up in the frivolous, the ridiculous things that goes on along in our lives, and it has no meaning in our lives, and yet we're dying. We're getting, as we get older, we're dying. That's what's happening. We're getting older, and we are not actually going deeper in our lives. We're actually being what I call a facade, or mainly, as I would say, simply is having a wide road, what I would call a wide path, like someone a farmer is, that is got you know quite a bit of what I call wideness to the thing, but only it's an inch thick. There's no depth in anybody anymore. You see, no one wants to go there. Everybody wants to talk. I see this even on my Facebook page. People don't want to engage in deeper thinking. They just don't want to. I don't know why. You should have the desire to actually want to know these things, but people rather see things like little curly little animals and birds and stuff like that, and ducks, which I enjoy myself. That's part of nature. But there isn't a deeper thinking. Why am I here? What is my purpose? And where am I going? You see, when I pass from here, there's no thought of that at all. And it's also what we call, naturally, this is happening simply is the erosion of religion, which in reality is a program also. That's there, folks. It's just nothing but programming, and it's not going to help you. It's just believing in someone else is going to save you, when in reality you have to be your own savior. Period. So we're going to continue on here as I continue to share. I just want to explain some things as I go into this. In these pages, we are engaged in the study of the nature of reality in search of the counter-modern retrieval of radiant human being amidst the wonders of creation, against the defection encoded in and abetted by Twilight language, which in its preponderance of cases, yeah, I've already read that. I'm sorry. I get all caught up in doing this thing. So anyway, just bear with me. Twilight language is the visible spectrum of the occult imperative. It is rendered invisible through our willful forgetfulness, the price we pay to maintain a sliver of comfort and self-satisfaction within the sorcery system of things. Its consumption of knowledge and branding of Twilight language, as opposed to the study and analysis of its function as neuro-linguistics programming, is an act of enthrallment, not liberation. Participants in the process situate greater knowledge of Twilight language in the continuum of thrilling jolts to their serious impaired and dull autonomic nerves system, like narcotic addicts who increase their doses to attain the same level of serenity first experienced with the ingestion of a lower dose. Consequently, this book can either be an empowerment map for sleuths seeking emancipation from simulation, or a further descent into psychological and spiritual bondage on the part of those who partake of this writing, mainly to attain a more thrilling shot of recognition concerning their own demise. This is what's happening, folks. We are demising. We're going. We don't wake up or become aware. We're in trouble. We're in definitely big time trouble, folks. A shock that will eventually dissipate and require yet another unprecedented joke, and then another and another. Many of the people stewed in morbid conspiracy theory suffer the effects of the mental contagion they imagine they are decoding. The process ends when the nervous system becomes too anesthesiated and stupefied to experience further simulation. This is the blackjack state of 2001. The clowns, this is what we call a theater of clown priests of Zuni, Z-U-N-I. And this is based upon a work that was done by a guy named Zufi Bread Stuff, Millstone 10, number 8, 1885. Clowns, Priests, and Festivals of the Kaka. The clown priest is annually elected from the membership of the Kaka and disguised as monsters with warty, wide eye, pucker mouth, pink masses, and mud bedaubed equally pink bodies. First appear the dancers, some 50 of them, costumed and masked with some similarity that individuals are as indistinguishable as the birds of the animal or the animals they conveniently represent are from each other. Large-jawed and stirred-eyed demons of one kind or another marshaled them into the open plaza of the village under the guidance of a sedate, unmasked priest bearing sacred relics and prayer meal. One of the demons sounds a rattle and howls the first clause in the song stanza, saying, "Then all fall into line, all in equal time sing the weird song, and go through the pandemonium and dance which invariably illustrates its theme. When 4 verses have been completed, the actors, bathed in perspiration, retire to the area where they rest and pray, while the priest clowns appear with drums, cannibalistic prayer plumes, and the paraphernalia of guess games. They begin the absurdest, most ingenuous and witty of buffoonery, and readily, generally managing nevertheless to explain during their apparently nonsensical dialogues the full meaning of the dance and song, the latter being often couched in archaic or jargonistic terms, utterly incomprehensible to others than the initiative among the audience." So I just want to share this with you because I just think it's important for you to see. This is just, and it continues. This is all took place in 2001, folks. A lot of this is happening in 2001. With the Twin Towers coming down, similar to what took place with John Kennedy when he was shot in Dallas. It's a way of having an effect upon the psyche of this country. That's what this is about, folks. And they use Twilight language, and we don't know what they're talking about. So it has a numbing effect upon people, you see. So this is the prologue of the book. A blackjack progression from 2001 to 2021. And you know what happened in 2001, I've just told you about, but what happened in 2020 was another psyop, you see, dealing with coronavirus. This book is not a how-to manual to prevent being alchemically processed by the cryptocracy. One cannot prevent a disease that has already manifested. Neither is it a wake-up call, since the gateway year 2001, the majority of Americans have been processed as initiatives. They are Masons on site, i.e. members of a secret society without knowing it. A wake-up call presupposes that people are asleep. They are only partly so. In their waking stages, they intuitive that the cryptocracy in the United States engages in human sacrifice and occult process. This thrills them, and they keenly anticipate more thrills. Yeah, Isn't that amazing? Do you remember? I had a friend of mine on Facebook, and I remember her sharing with me simply that there are going to be people who are just going to love their mask in 2020. And they're going to be special masks to represent their so-called characters, you see, about who they are. Do you not remember those couple of years that was ago? That's actually been now almost 3 years now, where people would have masks and they have some scary looking thing on their face, like a demon or something, or a clown, whatever, almost as the alternate personality of who they are, or the real personality of who they are. The alchemy processing of humanity is ahead of schedule. People are becoming less human and far more numb and easily misdirected as the reign of dead matter appears on the horizon. Reality, facts, and truth are dispensable in the high echoes of the cryptophagy. Sorcery entails a calculus in which reality, facts, and truth are whatever the sorcerer declares them to be. According to the allegations in Area Ariel Sabar Sablr book called Veritas, a Harvard professor, a con man, and the Gospel of Jesus' wife, based upon Random House 2020. One of the principals who was allegedly instrumental in promoting that Jesus had a wife, that is a fragment, what we call a papyrus fragment hoax, was Karen King, that is Hollis Professor of Divinity at Harvard University. In a review of Sabor's book, James Lasdun, spelled Lasdun, states concerning King's alleged co-conspirators in the hoax. She had little interest in hearing what Sabor had found out, nor did she offer any more culpaces with her fragment was discredited. You could read this as a product of lofty postmodern sensibility. Unbound by crude categories of true and false, King's statements over the years certainly supported that history is not about truth, but about power relations. She wrote in one paper, sticklers for the former were guilty of fact fundamentalism. But such relativism for her was never an end in itself. It was always in the service of a larger goal. And from the beginning of her career, that goal was unabashedly religious, a gospel revealing Mary Magdalene as not just Jesus' disciple, but also his wife, would forfeit the sexuality if it turned out to be genuine, so much the better, but even if it didn't, might it not be do some good all the same? This is from James Lasdun. This is a quote from James Lasdun, Lasdun, from London Review of Books, September 24, 2020. The New York Times lent support to the papyrus Hopes of Times, that is based upon September 19, 2012. Jesus had a wife. Papyrus fragment was allegedly forged and conceived by Walter Fritz, a German American who, according to Mr. Sabar's book, produced hot wife pornographic films starring Fritz's wife, a series of men, and on occasion Fritz himself. Mrs. Fritz had her own website that jointly celebrated slughood. And of all the things, the teachings of Jesus, the latter are giving a distinctive Gnostic spin. That's why Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you. It means find your own reality within. Then you will know it all. Reference to Aleister Crowley and even Karen King's translation of the Gospel of Mary appeared in the couple's online writing and videos. This is based upon, again, Lasdun, page 6, and that's spelled Lasdun. This seems very, this is really deep, folks. So if you can't handle it, I understand, but you do need to handle it. In a non-Gnostic Orthodox Christian theology of the Bible, this liturgian falls under two categories. The first is Minigowski officiosum, that is the officious lie, the helpful lie, lying for our own good to assist us into illumination. Jacob conveyed to his father Isaac the helpful lie that he was his firstborn son. It's based upon Genesis 27 through 19. The 17th century theologian Thomas Brooks notes that Jacob told Isaac a official lie, that is, after which Jacob hardly ever had a merry day, a good day after it, for God followed him with a variety of troubles, and his sorrows came posting in one after another, even to his dying day, that both himself and others might see what bitterness is wrapped up in officiation lies. St. Augustine stoutly asserts that we are not to tell an officious lie, though it were to save all the world. Nepos, that is Nepos, reported of Epasimistus, a nobleman of Thebes, Thebes, and a famous warrior, that he would never lie in jest nor in earnest, either for his own or another's gain. This refined heathen will one day rise in judgment against such kind of Christians who take a pleasure in officious lies. The most common occult lie is called, he calls it, I don't know how to pronounce this, sorry, bear with me. This is Latin. Mendacium, Pernicious, Perniciosum. Lying, Pernicious lying intended to defraud or to cheat. That's what goes on all around us, folks. You can't even trust anyone, any advertisement, commercial, whatever. It's all lies, and everything else around to cheat, just to do it. There is no occult imperative without rampant. This particular word again, Madonia Perseus. If it is successfully conducted, it becomes a true consensus reality. This is the might is right winner creed. Yeah, you hear this over and over. Might is right. When reality is right is might. Get that in your head. Doing what is right is mighty, not the other way around. Okay? This is how, might makes right. When in reality, that's a lie, folks. It's the opposite. Right makes might. The Christian counterculture says otherwise it is better to be a loser in this world than a liar. Jeremiah loathed and abominable lies to such an extent that he chose to live in the wilderness than among them. It's based upon Jeremiah 9, verses 2 through 8. So I'm going to conclude with this here, this section. This is already a few pages here. This is an interesting book already. You get some good quotes in here. There are some good photos here. He shows, that shows this particular picture here. If you can see it, this is the picture supposedly that we went to the moon and we put up two flags. You can see the flag there. There's one, you see, one being the United States of America flag. If we did go there, which I doubt. The other one is simply is, it's a Mason flag, maybe deeper than that. You see it? It's the 10th anniversary. Our flag's on the moon. So this was based upon, I'm looking at it now, Supreme Council of the Southern Prudentists, which would probably be Pike. That's what I'm recollecting. Here's another quote from this particular book. Let me just share this with you. This is from Neil S. Price. Everything around them has been built from blood, the earth and the heavens fashioned, literally, from the dismembered body of a murder victim. The universe as crime scene is an unsettling story, full of strangeness, violence, and contradictions. A tale whose truths must be felt rather than merely explained and understood. I'll show you a few more pictures here. You can see them. Interesting photo here. Then you have the alchemical process here. Then you have the what I call truth or consequences here. The huge bomb. And then the so-called what we call the explosion that takes place in the 1940s. And then I think this is a showing of where the projectile, that is the bullet that actually went into Kennedy's head here. You see it? And then this, I believe, I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is what we call the blood stains of his shirt. I don't know. I have no idea this one at all. But I wanted to share this simply because I got this book today, and noticed that that even back then, back in the 1970s and 60s, Truth or Consequences, a game show. How in reality that these shows, television, has enormous impact upon people to the point that they are mesmerized and they live their lives, all their lives, actually, folks. This is really sad. Sitting behind a television, they work. They never actually ask any questions about what's going on, about, why am I here? What is my purpose? And yet they're just blind going on. And then the other simply is they think they know, and they don't know neither. They're following a religion, any religion, folks. So I'm going to show one other thing here from his book, Moab. I think that's what that was, but we'll see. Moab stands for Massive Ordnance Air Blast. Is a non-nuclear U.S. Air Force super bomb. So that's what that was on, I showed earlier. The etymology and original meaning of the name Moab is unknown. The word is foreign to Hebrew. In the Old Testament, Moab is the name of the incestuous son of Lot, L-O-T, based upon Genesis 19:37. In the plains of Moab, opposite of Jericho, that is Numbers 22:1, and also 26 through 63, and also Joshua 13:32, the children of Israel had their last encampment before they entered the land of Canaan. Moses died in the land of Moab, based upon Deuteronomy 34:5, Deuteronomy 34:6. The Moab bomb was developed by Albert L. Weimar. I'm going to spell it for you. W-E-I Morts, Weimar's, M-O-R-T-S, of the United States Air Force. In German, the word via, V-E-I, denotes white. In French, the word mort, M-O-R-T, denotes death. Same word with mort man. Mortgage, mort, M-O-R-T, dead man, and varma means simply white death. So anyway, I just thought I'd share this with you guys. Again, this is from, most of you are not going to understand this. You really aren't. It's too heavy for you. Most of you won't even, you don't even want to dig. You want to just simply, you don't see the signs all around. You don't. They're all over the place, folks. They're everywhere. Because in reality, what's taking place is a giant show taking place outward here. Very few people see. Hopefully the veil will break down and some other people will begin to see if they earnestly seek the truth. So anyway, I appreciate you being here, and I wish you a good night. And thank you for attending, and hope that you glean some truth out of what I'm sharing with you. We'll go through this book. This is a book approximately, looks like approximately probably over 200 something, probably about 300 pages almost. So it's just interesting to hear this from him. The words are hard for me to pronounce because he does use some Latin words, which I don't know Latin. So you have to bear with me. Anyway, thank you for being here. You take care. Have a good night.